Welcome to the class on design thinking. Today we are going to discuss the concept of design thinking. This design thinking concept was introduced in 1969 by Herbert Simon, a Nobel laureate, in his book The Sciences of Artificial. So the concept of design thinking as a word or as a concept originated in the 1969 itself. So he is a cognitive scientist. He talks about thinking aspects. So he has given many ideas for the management jargon. So today we are going to understand the basics of design thinking first. So what is design thinking? To me, design thinking is a creative problem-solving approach, and it is a practical way of looking things. Design thinking is not simply a layout or a design or a blueprint. It is about the mindset. It is a solution-based approach, always strives to understand from the user's perspective. And a design thinker should always look for the solution, and the solution should meet the needs of the users. So basically, design thinking is about a creative and problem-solving approach. The problems could be human-centered problems, or it could be a wicked problem, or any unstructured, undefined, complicated, multi-dimensional problems could be solved by following a design thinking methodology. So it is always look for solutions. It's an iterative process. So from one step to the next step, from one thinking level to the other thinking level, normally we are nearing towards the better solution. So what we are trying to understand today is the approach should be like this. Reimagine the status quo. Normally, what is status quo? Maintaining the same standards, following the same methodologies, or following the same logic. But normally, a design thinking encourages you thinking outside the box. As several times this phrase is used by management teachers and other consultants. But today, I would like to tell you that you should think the non-obvious. You should think about the options which were not heard of, which were not thought of. So you should think that there is no box at all. And you should also try for various solutions. Don't stop at the first solution. Not necessarily always the first solution is the best solution. Identify many solutions. So in this, you may get the right solution. So if you follow this particular approach, what will happen? You will have a better products, better services, and better internal processes. Business is nothing but a collection of different processes. A business organization is a bundle of handling different internal processes. If we could improve the internal process, automatically the business performance will increase, efficiency will increase. So normally, a customer will be accepting the product, the user will be satisfied with the service we are offering. So design thinking is an imperative, it is a must. We cannot postpone of applying design thinking principles in our day-to-day life. So Tim Brown, one of the advocate of design thinking, he has identified three different aspects. One is, as I explained already, design thinking is a human-centered approach. First of all, we should look everything from the user's point of view, from the human angle. It's not simply coming from a laboratory or from an existing model. The ideas should come from the field. The ideas should be from the bottom of the pyramid. So from bottom up approach has to be followed. So according to Tim Brown, design thinking is a human-centered approach of to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of the people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. Here he explained about three aspects. One is the needs of the people. What is their desires? What are their needs? What are their wants? That has to be met. Second one is the existing technology should be should be adopted to get a solution. So technology feasibility also you should test. The third important point is business should also get benefit. So business should get some profit. So whether this is financially viable for the organization or not. So financial viability for the organization, technology feasibility, and the customer's desirability are the three important elements of any design thinking approach. So if you look towards this desirability of the customer or the user, feasibility in terms of the existing technology or emerging technologies, and the viability is from the company's angle or organization's angle, whether it is financially viable so that the organization should also survive. So design thinking is about, as I explained, it is a stepwise approach. It's like iterative problem solving approach. Iteration means what? From equation 1 to equation 2. From today's thinking to the next level of thinking. We should improvise. Whenever we discuss the problem at length, from the customer's angle, from the user's angle, from the other's point of view with empathy. So normally we should do some research about the needs and wants and about the users of the system. Then you will be in a better position to design a product or a service or a process. As design thinking is more useful to solve multi-dimensional problems and extremely complex problems. For example, in the recent example of Corona is a great test example in this field because nobody knows the solution initially. But in the Corona wave 1, we got some idea about what is the virus, how it will mutate, or how to think about safety, how to manage the crowds, etc. Wave number 2, Corona wave 2, we have a better knowledge to handle this, but there are some other problems emerged like lack of oxygen in the hospitals. Some people have died, and that is also a learning lesson for the governments and the healthcare system. Then in the Corona wave 3, we are in a better position to handle because vaccines are ready and vaccine distribution is a big challenge that is also understood. So a generation of certificate, the technology has been used, research organizations have been used, manufacturing organizations have been used, funding organizations have been used, and the vaccine is distributed. So the approach is design thinking approach. So collectively, we come and sit and together and discuss about the ideas. So this is the important point of it. Normally, today's problems may change their shape in the changing context. Maybe yesterday's problems, the same problem may come today, but because of the changing context, the problem's dimensions will change. So in that sense, the problems that seem to mutate and take a life of their own, it cannot be handled with our traditional knowledge, with your linear thinking, and you should always approach a new level of thinking. So here, today's problems cannot be solved with yesterday's knowledge. So this is the approach we should follow. Next, the process starts by asking the right question. If you want to design a better product for a customer, first of all, go and ask the customer. From the customer's angle, what kind of problems he is facing or she is facing? What is his understanding about the situation? Sometimes what will happen? Technologies are standardized. Most of the technologies are having universal benchmarks. But once they are trying to be implemented at different continents, different countries, different conditions, they have to be customized. So here, customization of the existing technology is required. So for that, you should ask the right questions. So a design thinking mindset should ask the right questions instead of giving the answers straight away. So you should question the problem, you should question the assumption, and you should also question the implication. So if you always question, then the next step will be better step. So that is what iteration method will help, questioning method will help. So you should ask questions like, can you describe how you feel about the climate, so that you can design a better air conditioning system. So in some countries, we want air conditioning for getting chilled, cold. But in other countries, we want the reverse mechanism is also required. We have to regulate the temperature, and sometimes we have to freeze at certain level. So what kind of approach you should follow for any problem, you should ask from the user's perspective. And you should also ask the right questions. For example, what do you think causes this problem? So how do you solve this? So if you involve the user in the process of thinking, your approach is user-centered approach. And that is the hallmark of design thinking. So with this, we try to understand what is design thinking. Let me recap what we have learned today. TT is a problem-solving approach that can be applied to complex, multidimensional, and complicated problems. So that is the first lesson we learned. Second important point is, it is an iterative, human-centered issue. Methodology you should follow. Iterative means stepwise. So normally a mathematician will address the problem with different equations. Equation 1 is complicated, 2 is little bit simplified, 3 is further simplified. Maybe at equation 11 or 12 or 13, you may get a solution. So in the same sense, it is try to get a solution. The solution is humanly desirable. So the solution must be acceptable by human beings, not by the system, not by the technology. It should be accepted by the customers. It should be accepted by the users. So design thinking is like a designer who will transform the way organizations develop the products, processes, and the strategy. This approach, which is known as design thinking, brings together what is desirable from human point of view with what is technology feasible and economically viable. So these three elements also should be taken care of. Desirable from the human point of view, and feasibility from the customer technology point of view, and whether it is financially feasible or economically viable or not, you should test. And you should also try to understand, you should use some creative tools to address the wide range of challenges. The tool set must be changed for different problems. With this, I think we can conclude. Design thinking is a human-centered. Problems could be solved with an iterative approach by taking the users into the thinking process and going and doing some research creating with the needs and wants of the users, and also looking for the feasible technology adaptation. Then we should also look from the company's economic angle. So if we mix all these three, we will get a better solution. And design thinking normally is a better open-ended and creative and practical way of solving the problems. With this, I think we can conclude the basic concepts of design thinking. My suggestion to you is you should have a design thinking mindset so that you can reimagine your future, you can reimagine your personality, and you can redefine your own approach. You can question your own existing lifestyles. You can question about the assumptions you are having. So my suggestion to you is work on this approach, improve your personality. Everybody should be a design thinker in that sense. and I wish you a good time. Have a nice time. Thank you.